Ladies and gents, welcome. It's Monday afternoon at the time of recording. Here is an interview with Conservative MP James Daly.
Now, you, James Daly, were the one who brought forward a complaint after the police had said there was nothing to see here in terms of her living arrangements. What crime do you think she's committed?
Now, before we get on to his response to that, let's just back up a little bit. So, you must be aware by this point that Angela Rayner is in some sort of bother if you're a Conservative, and it's a bit of a non-story if you are left of centre. Basically, the story is she had the two houses. We all know this stuff, right? But just in case you don't, she had the two houses. She lived in the one with her husband, but then she also had the other one, which she let her brother stay in. And there's this big thing about then when she sold the house, was she supposed to pay capital gains tax, or actually is there nothing payable? Because anyway, that's the row. And she was reported to police by this Conservative MP, James Daly.
You, James Daly, were the one who brought forward a complaint after the police had said there was nothing to see here in terms of her living arrangements. What crime do you think she's committed?
And that's a key thing, right? The police have already looked at this situation and they said there's no case to answer. We don't think there's anything untoward happening here. There's no tax fraud. There's no corruption. There's not even a curry or a beer, guys. So I guess should we just knock it on the head, shall we?
After the police had said there was nothing to see here.
So they've already looked into it. They've already said no. This genius, James Daly, and the Mail. So I guess together, if they were a double act, right, they'd be the Daily Mail, right? All right. Yeah, we managed to get one joke out today. Anyway, this guy, James Daly, he reported Rayner to the police again. And so now they are investigating. So let's see what he's got to say.
Well, the Greater Manchester Police last week now announced that they were investigating various matters in relation to this. And therefore, I think it's perfectly appropriate to allow that investigation to proceed. And I think there's, Keir Starmer is a former DPP, and I think other Labour spokesmen have said this morning that let the police do their work, and we shall see at the end of that what the situation is.
Right, but what is it you think she's done? If the police had originally said they didn't think there was anything to actually respond to, what is it that you brought to light that has changed that?
The situation is that information was provided to Greater Manchester Police as per any other person making a complaint or a potential complaint. Greater Manchester Police have assessed that. They are now carrying out an investigation, and I think that we should allow them to carry out that investigation.
But I still don't understand, what's the offence that you think that's been committed?
My understanding is that the Greater Manchester Police, and they will correct me if I'm wrong, are looking at a number of different offences here and will investigate fully, and we should give them the time and the opportunity to do that.
So she's asked him, in case you need a tally there, she's asked him 3 times. He's the complainant. He's the guy that's like, yeah, you guys, you should come and take a look at this. I think this is a bit dodgy. She's asked him 3 separate times. What is it that you think she's done?
But I still don't understand, what's the offence that you think that's been committed?
You've really caught me off guard there with this one question that you've now repeated 3 times. I still haven't thought up. Why didn't you guys brief me on it? CCHQ take checks in the millions from donors. You're telling me you can't find one PR consultant that can dream up a line back for this question?
What's the offence that you think that's been committed?
My understanding is, it doesn't sound like you've got an awful lot of understanding up there in that ample forehead, Jim.
My understanding.
So anyway, there's 2 things that leap out to me. Well, 3 if you include his forehead, because it's quite. I don't know if you remember this guy, right? So the first thing is that this is a Tory MP who was elected in 2019. He was one of those new red wall Conservatives that came in on the Brexit wave. And I always refer to them as low-rent, high-risk Tories. And the reason I refer to them as that is because these people were never expected to win. Do you remember that election? Do you remember? Think of all the traditional voting behaviour in those constituencies. What person in their right mind would stand to be a Tory MP in a constituency that has never voted Tory, or at least hasn't voted Tory for like 70 years? The only people you're going to get standing in a constituency like that are people with absolutely zero experience that CCHQ is sort of trialling to see how they get on the campaign trail. or people who have got nothing else really going on at all. Who could afford to take off, 6 weeks for the campaign from their proper job? Who could actually do that? I wouldn't do that. But, your Jonathan Gullises, your Lee Andersons, your James Daly, your Ben Bradley, your Scott Bentons, all of them did it. High risk, low rent. So, that's the first thing. Second thing, James Daly was in trouble a couple of months ago because he said that most of the problem kids in his own constituency were the result of crap parents, completely forgiving himself any sense of responsibility. He doesn't need to look after them. He doesn't need to improve public services. They're just the results of crap parents. And frankly, those crap parents and their horrible children should be sealed in a barrel and rolled off a pier. Don't you have a wider responsibility, James, as the Member of Parliament for that constituency, to reflect the concerns of even the constituents that you don't necessarily agree with, that you don't like, the problem children and the crap parents? That you've got some sense of responsibility there? No. I've thought about it. I've thought about it with my massive head, my ample forehead, rolling that thought around in there. And my understanding...
my understanding
is that they should be welded in a shipping container and left in the Arctic. I've really thought about it, though, and I've, ended up drawing the conclusion that allows me to do the least possible effort to help them in their situation. So that's two things. Big forehead, previously in trouble for the crap parents comment, and now this is the third thing, okay? Where you've got Angela Rayner in a situation where she's had the clearance from her tax advisors. The police have already looked into it and given her a clean bill of health. But that's not enough for the Daily Mail and Jim Daly. Daily Mail. See, I'm going to wheel that one out a lot, I think. I'm quite proud of myself with that. But that's not enough for these guys, so back we all go. We got to go through it again. James Daly picks up the phone. He says, yep, no, there's definitely a problem here. The police are rushed in to go and investigate it. And then when he's actually challenged on national TV to provide the reason that he has reported it to the police, he's like, oh, well, I think we should just let the police get on with the investigation. What are they investigating, James? Oh, wow. God, I can't wait till this lot are crushed at the ballot box. I mean, Supertansky talks a lot about seeing MPs crying in a sports centre at 2 a.m. when the results come in. And I think that will be sweet for people like, Jacob Rees-Mogg, maybe Jeremy Hunt. But I think it will be unrivaled in the joy that it yields when we're talking specifically about Red Wall 2019 Tory MPs, because these guys, like your Jacob Rees-Moggs, your Jeremy Hunt, they've had years in the game. They've made a lot of money. They could go off and get jobs in think tanks, advisory firms, whatever. They're going to be okay. But there's something ever so sweet. Something it's like having a pure milkshake of Schadenfreude. There's something so good about knowing that these guys have just come in on the last Parliament. They've just got their foot in the door. I see. I told you, Janet, didn't I? I told you I'd become an MP, and this is our new life now. And then smash cut to 3.5 years later, just kick him out the door. I mean, here's what I would like to see, right? I would love this, right? I'm not saying go and do it. Don't go and do it. I'm just saying it would be hilarious now if somebody reported James Daly to the Greater Manchester Police for something that involved him then getting snatched, like heavy corruption or trafficking or something where they would literally swoop on his house, cordon tape, they'd give him the Sturgeon's treatment, start digging up his lawn, all of that. And then when people if it was me that did it, if they dragged me onto Koonsberg or, whatever the morning politics show is, they go, well, what is it that you think that he's done? Why did you report him? I'd just be like, I just think we need to give Greater Manchester Police space now to do their investigation.
My understanding